Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sura Yasin, verse number 33. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa ayatul lahumul ardul maitatu ahyaynaha wa akhrajna minha habban faminhu ya'kulun. And a sign of them is the dead earth. We give life to it, and we bring forth from it grain, so they eat of it. The best way of having faith in resurrection is carefulness in the created things. The verse under discussion states some signs of unity and resurrection together in order that it can be a means for the rejectors to become aware and believe in the origin and resurrection. At first, it refers to the revival of dead lands and the blessings from which reach to mankind. It says, and a sign for them is the dead earth. We give life to it, and we bring forth from it grain, so they eat of it. The subject of life is one of the most important proofs of monotheism. It is a very complicated, mysterious, and wonderful problem which has caused the intellect of all scientists to surprise. With all great progresses which man has gained in science, none has opened its puzzle yet. It has not exactly been known to anyone that under what factors at the beginning the inanimate beings changed into living cells. Still, no one knows how the seeds of plants and the different levels have minutely been built, and what mysterious laws administer them, that they move when the suitable conditions are provided, and they begin to grow and absorb the atoms of the dead land into their own being, and in this way they change the dead beings into some tissues of the living creatures, so that every day it shows some new manifestation of life. From one side, the subject of life in the world of plants, animals, and revival of the dead lands are some clear proofs upon the fact that there have been applied a great knowledge in the creation of this world, and on the other hand, they are as a manifest sign upon resurrection. It is clear that the Arabic pronoun lahum for them refers to ibad, the servants, which has been mentioned in previous verses, and the purposes of ibad here is all the servants who made mistake and deviated in the subjects of origin and resurrection, and the Quran counts the circumstances as the cause of regret and sigh. The application of the Arabic word ayah in an indefinite form points to the greatness, importance, and clarity of this monotheistic sign. The Quranic sentence فَمِنْهُ يَأْكُلُونَ, so they eat of it, from one side points to the fact that men feed from a part of vegetal grains, and some others of them are not edible for men, but they have some other benefits such as food for animals, producing the coloring matters, medicine, and other things which are utilized in man's life. And on the other side, by preceding the word minhu to ya'kulun, which is usually used for restriction, expresses this point that the most and also the best source of men's food is vegetal stuffs, so much so that as if they form all foods of men. Sura Yasin, verses 34 to 35. وَجَعَلْنَا فِيهَا جَنَّاتٍ مِّن نَخِيلٍ وَأَعْنَابٍ وَفَجَّرْنَا فِيهَا مِنَ الْعُيُونِ لِيَأْكُلُوا مِن ثَمَرِهِ وَمَا عَمِلَتْهُ أَيْدِيهِمْ أَفَلَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And we made therein gardens of date palms and grape vines, and we caused springs to flow forth in it, that they may eat of the fruit and what their hands have produced, will they not be grateful? In man's nutrition, cereals and grains have the first function, and then there are fruits. The man's duty for bounties is cognition and thanksgiving. Allah gives life to the dead land and makes plants and fruits available that man eats them and gives thanks. This holy verse refers to the life of dead lands. It says, "And we made therein gardens of date palms and grape vines, and we caused springs to flow forth in it." In the previous verse, the words were about grains, but here the strengthening and nutritive fruits, two outstanding samples of them are date and grapes, each of which are counted as a complete food. As we have formerly said in detail too, the studies of scholars show that these two fruits in particular have kinds of necessary vitamins and different vital materials for man's body. Moreover, these two useful fruits can be kept and used in different forms during the year for eating. The Arabic term anab is the plural form of inab, and the term nakhil, as Ragib says in Mufradat, is the plural form of nakhal. But with this difference that the term inab is usually called to grapes itself, and it is rarely used for a vine, while the word nakhal is the name of the tree, the fruit of which is fresh date and is called tamar, fresh but dry date. Some believe that this difference of meaning, that in one place the Quran says tree and in another place it says fruit, is for the sake that the date palm, as it is popular, all its parts are useful, its trunk, its branches and leaves are totally used differently, and its fruit is superior to all of these things, while vine is usually planted for its fruit and its trunk and branches have not much use, and both of them are mentioned in plural form. This may refer to the different kinds of these two fruits, because each of them is of more than 10 kinds with different specialities and suitable for everybody and for various tastes. This point is also noteworthy, that in the previous verse the meaning was referred to giving life to the dead lands, which is usually accompanied in the Quran with the statement of the descent of rain. But in this verse the words are about flowing springs, because for a great deal of agriculture only rainwater is not enough, and fruit trees usually in need of flowing water too. The Arabic term fajjarna is derived from tafjir, which means to create a vast gap, and since springs are gushed forth by splitting the land, this meaning has been used for coming out spring water from the land. The next holy verse states the aim of the creation of these fruitful trees, such as that they may eat of its fruits and of what their hands have produced. Will they not then be grateful? Yes, the fruits which appeared in the branches of the trees, without being in need of any changes, are eatable when they are picked up from the trees, and this shows the utmost grace and greatness of Allah unto humankind. He has packed these delicious prepared foods as well, that it can be maintained for a long time without that it loses its nutritiousness. This is different from the foods that man makes from the natural God-given stuffs, that they often become putrid quickly. There is another commentary about this verse which is noteworthy too. It says the Quran intends to point both to the fruits that are used without any change and to the kinds of different foods which are obtained with an action on these fruits. In the first commentary, the Arabic word ma in the Quranic sentence is a negative sign, while in the second one it's a relative pronoun. However, the aim is that the sense of gratitude and thanksgiving of men may be moved so that by the way of thanksgiving they can step in a stage of knowing Allah in which thanking the benefactor is the first step of knowing Allah subhanallah wa ta'ala. Sadaqallahul Aliyul Azim wa sadaqa Rasulullahul Karim wa nahnu ala dhalika minash shahidin wa shakirin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.